we tell new agents that you have to be available all the time,
Right.
right? But you shouldn't. Like, you have to have time for yourself.
Right.
You have to set up boundaries in your business. You have to be able to say, I can work these days and I can, and I am making time for family. Because if you're available all the time, you're giving away everything that you have, and your time is the most valuable. Now, and you're upfront with your customers about it. Like, I am available Monday through Saturday. Don't You can text me on Sunday, but don't expect me to do anything within these certain hours, right? This is my time. And I tell even my friends, my phone goes off at 9 o'clock, which early or late to some people. At 9 o'clock, you will not be able to reach me till 6 a.m. After 9 o'clock, I am not answering text calls, anything until 6 a.m. the next day.
Hi there. Welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. And I am so glad that you're with us today. And I know you are going to be glad that you're with us as well, because we have a very special guest. You know what? I think I call all of our guests special. Why? Because if they're coming on this show, they have to be pretty special. And this one is special indeed. I met Chris at a conference last year. And this is a kind of guy that he walks into the room and with him comes energy. Like, he doesn't even have to be up in front of the room, and there's just energy that follows him into the room. He's also the kind of guy that everyone just wants to be friends with. So today, we're going to have a great chat. Chris, I believe, is going to speak some things today that are going to impact your life and business. So please welcome to the show, Chris Kortright. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Mark.
Man, I'm really glad to have you today. And I really, the interaction that I've had with you, you just are the kind of guy that I see long-term friendship is going to form with you, right? And so I was like, I want to bring you on the show. I know you are having an impact on agents, and I didn't say that you are a realtor in Ocala, Florida, but you're starting to speak and have influence and impact on agents all over the place. So tell us a little bit about your life and career, and how did we get into real estate and get here today?
So, Mark, I got into real estate after I got out of the Marine Corps. I was 21 years old. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I was bartending. And my parents' neighbors actually, his name was Jerry Guerra, and he said, if Chris wants to get into real estate, I'll teach him everything that he needs to know. And so I was currently living in Gainesville, Florida at the time, and I moved back into my mom's house. And for 6 months, I studied and I got my real estate license in July of 2016. And from there, it's been history. It's been almost a decade now. I don't see myself doing anything else except helping realtors and growing my own business.
Okay, but before all of that, you were a U.S. Marine?
I was in the Marine Corps from 2011 at 18 years old to
That's amazing.
2014.
Well, thank you so much for your service. What were you doing as a Marine?
So in the Marine Corps, I was actually a M1A1 main battle tank operator. So, the 2-ton tank, basically.
So like what we would see in the movies, like giant tank?
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Fury with Brad Pitt?
Of course. Yes.
Well, basically, we all like to think of ourselves as tankers, as Brad Pitt. It's something different that you get inside of this machine, and you're shooting 120 millimeter rounds down range. Those things are machines of death. It really, it's a real different perspective.
Wow. Now, did you see combat in a tank?
So I didn't. I actually was, fortunate enough that I didn't see combat. My company got back from Afghanistan as soon as I was hitting the fleet, and I got injured when I was in, and So once I got injured, I recovered, and they were like, do you want to go on a MEU, which a MEU is where you go sit on a ship for 9 months with the Navy. And
Mm.
I would have had to extend my stay, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was ready to get out, go home. So I declined, and that was the length of my career. That was it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for your service. I watch guys like you, and I think there's so many people that don't understand the sacrifice, and the weight on you personally, and then the weight on your family when you serve. And so we're just grateful for you and for doing that. So that's awesome. Now, you came out bartending, you end up in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say that your experience in the Marine Corps impacted your career in real estate?
So the Marine Corps teaches you discipline in everything that you do. From when you go to boot camp, that's 13 weeks of you're in hell. And, you're getting screamed at. You're put in very high pressure situations, and you have to be able to clear your head and do what needs to get done. So and you're going to get the discipline to get those things done. So what the Marine Corps teaches you is self-discipline, sacrifice, and the ability to govern your own emotions to get what needs to be done. So that sums it up. I mean, I apply that in everything that I do. So from listing appointments to working with buyers, I always call it my battle plan. It's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get there? And what's the backup plan if plan A doesn't work?
So then talk to me, because we have a lot of newer agents that listen to this show, and they oftentimes come in and, everyone thinks that if I just get a license and put a post out on Instagram or on Facebook, that all this business is going to start coming in. And then they find out, wow, this is not quite as easy as I thought it would be. Did you have that experience, or were you driven when you came in and things worked out different?
So I was driven when I came in the business. My first 6 months, like I said, I got my license in July. That first 6 months, I didn't have any business, but that January hit in 2017, and I did 2.5 million my first full year in the business, and which was 20 deals.
Yeah.
And then the following year, I did $3.5 million worth of business. Yeah. So I was consistent. I was doing the things that I needed to do every single day to drive that business, communicating, having conversations, setting appointments, sitting down with people and asking them, what are your real estate goals? What do you see yourself living in? Or is this short term, or is this long term? Because you have to have an idea. I think when people get into buying, is they don't really know the process, or they just don't understand it as an investment. So if you explain that to them, my favorite way, Monopoly, right? Yeah. I loved playing Monopoly as a kid. If you don't put a piece on the board, you're never going to pass go. You're never going to collect the $200. So you gotta put your piece on the board. Even if you're buying the smallest piece of property it's a starting point. You've got to start somewhere. You might not be at Park Place, but you've got something, and eventually you can work yourself up to buying that Park Place.
But it all starts with that first investment.
It starts with the first investment. Yep. So, and it's sacrifice. So when I bought my first home, when I got into real estate, real estate has its ups and downs. You were not guaranteed to make a paycheck every single month when you first get into the business. Even 10 years in the business, there's some months that you are just not going to have a closing. Yep. And if you don't budget correctly, those months can hurt. So you have to finance and strategically budget for those things. But in my investment story, I bought a duplex as my first property.
Mm.
So I lived in one side, rented out the other side. And then on top of that, I got a roommate and he paid me $400. So my mortgage was covered every single
Wow.
month. And that's how I got started. And then from there, I convinced my roommate to buy a triplex with me. So we were sitting there. I said, "Hey, you've got the credit. I've got some money. Let's go buy some property." And it's been 8 years now, and we have a total of 9 doors.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, I say it about realtors all the time. We can go and we can invest in the market. Now, I look at really there's 3 basic places you can invest money. You can invest your money in the market, stocks, bonds,
Mhm.
whatever, mutual funds. You can invest in business,
Mhm.
which I've invested a lot in business over the years. But then you have the investment of real estate. And as agents, what do we know best? Like, we know real estate. So why not have investments in real estate? What are your thoughts on making those investments?
Invest in what you do. When I approach a buyer or a seller, and especially buyers who are uncertain, they don't know what they're doing, is I'm going to give you advice that I truly believe in. And that's the
Mm,
thing. When I'm selling you on real estate, I'm selling you from the heart because it's something that I truly believe is an investment for your future. It's an investment for generational wealth for your family. So you have to figure out what their why is. And then once you figure out what their why is, then you can really truly get down to the core and get them to buy.
So,
So
so talk to me about that. Why? How do we get there? Because you can't just ask like, "Why do you want to buy real estate?" and they give you that. How are you getting to someone's true why?
So I think it's communication and listening.
Mm,
So you have to be able to have a conversation with somebody and listen to the words that they're saying. Pay attention. Stop talking. I love
mm,
to talk. And when I'm sitting with a customer walking through a house, when they're walking through that house, don't say anything. Just follow them. Be like a ghost. Follow them and see what they're saying. A perfect example, I had some customers a couple of weeks ago that she was walking through a house and she's like, "Well, I want something that, is affordable and I want to save money so I can build my dream home." But then we'd look at smaller houses and she'd be like, "Well, this doesn't work. It's not big enough." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want? Do you want a bigger house or do you want to save?" So at the end of the day, it came up to a $320,000 house and a $220,000 house. And I said,
mm.
"Chelsea," I said, "you're talking about building your dream home. You're saying you're going to live here for 2 years max, and then you're going to go build your dream home. Why are you going to spend the extra money if you're only going to save the money, buy
Yeah.
the cheaper house?" Like, I'm listening to you talk and you're saying, "I need all this space," but you're also talking and saying, "I need to save." And which is more important to you? And she said, "My dream home is more important to me." And I said, "Well, then sacrifice and buy something a little bit smaller, and then you can get what you really want." It's short-term gratification over long-term. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's the
Oh,
long-term satisfaction. It's
satisfaction.
achieving
Yeah, so
the
short-term
actual
gratification.
dream. Yeah.
Yeah, short-term gratification versus the long-term satisfaction. It's the sacrifice that you're willing to
Mm,
get. And that's the end of the day. Like, most people choose the short-term gratification, but you get more fulfilled if you actually sacrifice and wait.
yep.
Mhm.
We're hearing sacrifice a lot. One of the things that you just showed the audience is sometimes you have to be able to or be willing to sacrifice your commission, right? Because look, you did $100,000. You just gave up a couple to a few $1,000s, right? But you did the right thing because you genuinely care for a client to advise them as to what is best for them. And I think agents, listeners out there, or if you're watching this, that's a takeaway from today, is that it's not all about what you want. It's really about what is best for the client and how do I help them get to their dream, right? And so, I don't know, Chris, do you run into this down there? I run into it all the time where we have young buyer and they want to go and they want to overinvest to start because they want to live more like mom and dad lived.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the process, making good investments along the way so that they can get to that dream. Do you seem to find that in Florida?
I've seen it a lot. With friends especially, it's hardest to give advice to people closest to you. And, I've had friends that, either one, they don't want to invest, and it's always getting over those objections like, oh, I'm going to wait for prices to drop or interest rates to drop or the perfect market conditions or, the wine, I want wine, but I'm on a beer budget.
Yep.
Right. So again, it's what do you look like? What can you truly afford?
Yep.
Because if you get something that's maybe it does check all the boxes, but now your mortgage is something that is overwhelming.
Right.
And then when you're overwhelmed by a mortgage, I mean, I get putting yourself into a little bit of an uncomfortable position. Like I'm closing on my new house in 2 weeks and my mortgage is $1,900. And for me, I've been used to having an $1,100 a month mortgage.
Yeah.
And it's a big jump, but I did my finances, I did my research, and I said, you know what, I can do this, but I also have other properties that will offset my
Right.
mortgage. So I'm doing it strategically, and you have to feel comfortable, but you have to also just jump, right? Sometimes and make the move, because if you wait and you paralysis, right? You'll get the paralysis and then you don't make the decision. And then 10 years later, you could have had $100,000 in equity and you could have bought that bigger home with the equity that you had. But now you've got all the raises so you can afford the bigger home, but you just paid full price for it and you didn't have, and you threw away 10 years worth of rent.
Right.
And it's, why did you do that?
Well, I love how you're helping clients make decisions. I also love the decisions you've made. I want to go back though, because something you said, I know a lot of agents who go through this. You went essentially your first 6 months of it being in the business without a closing. Why didn't you just give up?
That wasn't an option. There was, I was looking at long-term success, and as a bartender, I would work till 3-4 in the morning, and it was great at 22 years old. But I knew, I was like, I'm not doing this the rest of my life. And I didn't plan on going back to college.
Yeah.
So, and I still haven't gone back to college. I've always believed in furthering my education and I love learning, but I think that you can teach or learn everything you need to yourself, right? You don't need a professor. You don't need to put yourself into a whole bunch of debt. You just go to the library or you go to Barnes and Nobles and you buy a book. I have a library in my house and I love to read. I love to read. It's just one of my favorite things to do because there's just so much information out there. And that's what I did when I got the first 6 months, I picked up every single book I could on how to be successful in real estate. And
do you have a list of those books that had the greatest impact on you?
A list of books that have
Or,
had the,
or, or can you list off some of the ones that had the greatest impact on you?
let's see, there is my first year in real estate. That one was really good. That talks about how to generate business. And also, one of the things that a lot of brokerages don't talk about is getting involved in your association, which I'm a true believer in, right? Get involved, get involved at the local, state, and national level,
Yep.
build that sphere of influence of successful people that are in your business. And Start with Why is a really good one. Simon Sinek.
Yep. Yep. One of the
And
best.
I and a lot of the other Barbara Cochran wrote a book, and I'm trying to remember. It's something about pigtails in your hair, and I cannot remember the name of the book, but it's a wonderful, wonderful sales book in real estate.
Okay.
So
I'm going to look that one up because I mean,
mhm.
honestly, if pigtails can help me sell more, why not?
Yes, yes. Yeah. And I think psychology, a lot of it is your headspace, right? It's not just the sales. You have to be in the right mindset to be able to do this.
So,
So,
and how did you do that? I mean, and I'm specifically asking you this because there are a lot of agents right now that want to give up. And I see it all the time. Owning a brokerage, we
mhm.
see agents give up all the time. But how did you not give up? Like, I mean, yes, failure wasn't an option, but
Mhm.
how did you keep your mindset in that right place?
Discipline and structure
Mm,
go, I mean, you have to have good habits. There, you know, I had a point in my business that I was doing very well, and then I let the bad habits take over, and you could see it affect your business.
yeah.
So honestly, I know that a lot of people are against it, but you have to cut out especially younger agents. If you're younger and you're in your 20s, cut out the alcohol on the weekends, cut out the late nights, get your
Mm,
sleep. You have to put yourself in places where successful people are. You have to, and they're not at the bars, they're not at the clubs. They're they're in mastermind groups, they're
yep.
at yoga classes, they're at the gym. And then what you do is you just have conversations. It's so easy to work out, and something I've implemented in my business this year, because when I'm in the gym, I usually headphones on, I don't want to be bothered. But now I look to somebody I don't recognize, and I say, hey, you're in my space, you're in my sphere, like, what's your name, what do you do, how
Yeah.
long have you lived here, and you just get to know them. Like, people want, especially if you approach them with an open style, you just open your chest and say,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going, smile.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right. Smile.
you smile at people, and people genuinely are like, hey, like, he's got a good approach, he's approachable, like, give him a hug. I love, I'm a hugger. Like, I'll hug anybody. You want to give me a hug? All day.
Yeah.
So, you
So
just
it's one of what you're saying though is really important
mhm.
because we do that. We get in the zone where we want to just be in our own world, but we're not in a business where we can afford to do that. And I love the fact that you're starting conversations at the gym. It kind of reminds me of my dad, who's been very successful in this business for 54 years. He's maybe slowed down a little bit now, but um, he always said, especially right when I got into the business 20 years ago, son, you can't be a secret agent. And the thing is though, you can go and you can have those conversations and it can feel like you're being a secret agent. But here's the thing. Real estate is the easiest conversation on the planet to bring up. And once
Absolutely.
people find out you're in real estate, when you meet someone at the gym, they find out you're in real estate. What happens next?
Oh, you talk forever.
Right.
I get so much business from my friends. I mean, actually, I get a ton of business from my gym, And then there's a lot of agents that work out at my gym. So you're building that sphere of influence as well within your community of people that you just work with alongside, and that makes deals easier too. So if I'm working a deal and I see another agent's name pop up and I know who they are,
Mm,
it's the deal is so much smoother, right?
for
It's
sure.
because of relationships.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. You just have to build relationships.
Absolutely. Okay. So now let's talk about helping agents who are, it doesn't even have to be a brand new agent. It could be an agent that's been in the business 3 or 4 years right now, and they're just struggling, right? They need help. They need some direction. It's a new year, new opportunity. And Chris Kortright is going to give me as the agent some coaching. What are you telling me to do right now to go and be successful?
Get on social media.
Okay.
Get on social media and start putting out content. Let people know who you are, right? We talk about relationships and we talk about having conversations in person, but the second best thing to those conversations in person is conversations online. I have friends across the country that I only get to see once a year.
Mm.
And anytime they see me, they light up and they're like, Chris, I see what you're doing in your market and I love it. And when I get referrals from Michigan, from California, from Miami, it's from those relationships that I've developed. If it weren't for those relationships last year, I wouldn't have done as well as I did. And last year was a slow year, even for me, who's been in the business for 10 years. So struggles are not just for new agents. Seasoned agents are seeing those same struggles. And again, if it weren't for those relationships, those extra referrals that I got from agents that I knew across the country, I would have been in a very bad position last year. So go out, meet people, network, just have more conversations everywhere that you can, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to make you successful, is building those relationships. And there's enough business to go around. There's no reason that you shouldn't be successful.
Yeah.
You-
Especially in a year like this year when, interest rates are starting to come down a little bit and they're expecting that there could be an extra 500,000 transactions across the country. That's going to trickle down to your markets, right? And so I'm totally with you. I'm very much a relationship person, but the ones who are out there building, maintaining, nurturing relationships, they are the ones that are doing the most business right now. And so I think you're right on that. So with your sphere of influence, with the people around you, how do you, besides social media, how are you continuing to nurture and grow relationships?
So and this is a learning process. So I've been in the business 10 years and
Mm-hmm.
I've had CRMs and haven't used them, and I've
Yep.
had CRMs and haven't used them.
Yep.
So
Wait, have you
I
ever had a CRM you haven't used?
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's
And
true though. You are not, it's not like, oh my gosh, what an idiot. No, most agents have CRMs. Their companies provide them and they never touch them.
you got to get a CRM you like.
Yeah.
So I've started using Wise Agent,
That's a
and
great one.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. It's easy to use. It's affordable. So I love it. And it just makes it plugging in my database and putting people on drip campaigns. But honestly, the best way to keep in contact with your sphere outside of social media is picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Uh, when I started a thing this year, is when I think of you, I'm calling you.
I love
So
that.
because the moment appeared in my brain for a reason, right? And
Mhm.
and it, and I have a gentleman, Stuart. He's one of my investors, and I was like thinking about him the other day. I was like, man, I haven't talked to Stuart in like 4 years. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, Stuart, how you doing? And he's like, Chris, I was praying about selling some houses this morning. That's crazy that you thought of me.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and now I've got 2 listings from him.
That's
So,
amazing.
it's you just have to pick up the phone and call people. I have buyers, Florida, we get a lot of relocation from the northern states. You guys had a lot of snow this past couple weeks,
Yeah, crazy
right?
amount. It's actually melting off as we're recording this. It's finally melting off. It's like the longest we've been under. But yes, a lot.
So so 2 scenarios. I know it's been cold here in Florida. So I texted all my past customers and said, "Aren't you glad you're moving to Florida where you don't have to deal with snow anymore?" And they
Yeah.
are like, "I can't wait." So, it's those touches that you just think of, like you think of people and you just reach out, and there's always the misconception that I haven't talked to them in a while. They're mad at me,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, right. I feel guilty. Like when you called Stuart, did he guilt trip you?
No, he was
No.
so excited. He was like, "Man, this is awesome that you called me." And I was like, "Yeah, and we had a good conversation, and I've listed his properties now, and he'll take that and he'll buy something else."
Yep.
So if I didn't just pick up the phone and call, that business would never happen.
So maybe help with this, okay? Because I think a lot of agents, they are afraid to make that call because they feel guilty. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there too. I feel totally guilty. It's like they're going to be mad at me. They're going to be like, "Well, you haven't called. You must just want something from me."
Mhm.
What should I say when I make that call?
What's up?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to. I mean, I just, you got to be authentic. I mean, I
Mm,
hate I've really gotten away from the term follow up, right?
yeah.
I'm just following up with you because it sounds so
Yeah.
salesy.
Yeah, it does.
And,
Totally.
and I'm, I'm not in the business, like, yes, we sell houses, but I'm in the business of improving lives.
That's
So
good.
I'm here to help you improve your life, and I want to know just how your life's going, or I just haven't talked to you and I want to know what's going on. Like, hey, I saw you just had a baby on Facebook, or I saw you went white water rafting, or hey, I'm just calling because I was just thinking about you, and I'm only calling because your name popped into my head, and what's going on. I mean, you can't get
Yeah.
more genuine than that. Like,
You can't.
if you want to call somebody, just call them. There doesn't have to be a reason. You don't have to, oh, I've got to have a reason for this phone call and an objective. Like, there's no objective. You could call, say, "Hey, I just wanted to say hi," and hang up the phone. But they're probably going to want to have a conversation with
Right.
you. They're like, if they answer, and then or leave them a silly, like you said, I'm an outgoing guy. So, with the snow, there were some of my customers that didn't answer, and I was like, "Hey, Chris from the Sunshine State here. Hope you're enjoying that downpour of snow, and give me a call back at your earliest convenience." And a lot of them will text me, "Hey, Chris, been at work, been busy, been meaning to talk to you. Let's catch up later." Or if they don't see it, you call them back, in a couple of days or a week. Like, nobody's mad at you,
Yeah.
unless you stole their dog for some
Right.
reason. But
Wait, are you in the habit of stealing dogs?
no.
Okay, good. Whew. All right. So we're going to do a little social media, and then we're going to not be secret agents. We're going to be connecting with people, and then if someone pops into our mind, we're going to call them. Actually, pick up the phone and call them. What else? What else can I do to get my business to take off this year?
So elevate your own life. Again, put yourself in those positions. If you want to live, your mind doesn't live in a state of "I'm going to get somewhere." It lives in a state of "this is where I am now." So you have to get yourself into "I am the most successful real estate
Mm,
agent. am successful in my speaking. I am a relationship builder. I have successful relationships with people. When you speak those affirmations, it's not, I'm getting there or I'm working on it. You are there.
You are.
You are there. So again, with the new house, the reason I bought this new house is I wanted to put myself in a position where other successful people were living, right? I wanted to, I, because positioning is everything. I want to be places that successful people are, right? You have to put yourself there, right? Do research, do what you have to, dress better, right? Because when you look in the mirror, you have to have the confidence to be, I am successful.
That is hard when you look in the mirror and you see a face like this. I mean, it's always a challenge, you know? So you've got more of a Brad Pitt face. We should have talked about that earlier when you talked about the movie Fury.
That's right.
You probably look more like Brad Pitt than I could ever hope to. So, you know, there's that.
Well, I mean, tankers, we're all basically Brad Pitt.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's that glamorous, right?
The ready for sacrifice on our tank named Fury.
Yeah. Wow. So. Okay. So a lot of great stuff, a lot of very helpful things. And when it comes to affirmations, though, is this something that you do daily? Do you keep this on your mirror? Are you writing your affirmations? How do you do affirmations?
So I like to journal. Okay. So I journal, and I also like to listen to it. I kind of, and right now I'm homeless, but when I'm in my house, you set aside that time. Yeah. Right. You have to write them down. And because writing them down turns it from a dream to a reality.
Yes.
Right. Your brain starts to pick up, this is what I'm doing. And then you have to talk it out with people too. So I'm a big believer in therapy wherever you are at in your life. You have to, we are in the business of real estate, and we get all of other people's stuff dumped up onto us every single day. And if we're not able to unload that, and we don't want to unload it onto our loved ones, because that's not what they're there for. I mean, they're there to support us, but if we are just constantly dumping stuff onto them, they're dumping it off onto other people. So you have to have that avenue to be able to take everything you're absorbing, because you're taking other people's weight, right? Alongside of your own affirmations. But you can't, you have to have habits, the habits, and create a pattern and tell yourself when you're going to do these things, and do it consistently. Because if you're telling yourself one thing, but you're doing another thing, you're lying to yourself, and that is going to be far worse. Because when you lie to yourself, you're not being honest with your true intentions, and your guilt will eat you alive. Yeah. So you have to be honest. If and it has to align with your why and your goals, because if you're telling yourself, I'm doing these certain things, but you're not, and it's not aligning, you're creating stress within yourself.
Right.
So just schedule a time and
do it,
whatever works for you. So, if you want to, Mel Robbins is awesome. She's got some great books. The High Five Habit and the Let Them Theory. I suggest reading both of those. It talks, High Five Habit goes into detail on standing into a mirror and high-fiving yourself, right? Because your brain, when you high-five somebody, you're telling them, hey, good job. So when you high-five yourself in the mirror, you're tricking your brain in saying, hey, good job to yourself. Right? Your brain doesn't know it's yourself. Your brain is just like, oh, I just got a high five. You're giving yourself that reward, that satisfaction. And then
that's good.
And on the other end, her let them theory is, controlling your actions and how you react, but not trying to control other people's reactions, and setting clear boundaries with people. It's important in this business.
I think I've had a couple of other agents recommend the let them. It's the let them theory, correct?
A letdown theory.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is probably one of my top reads
Okay.
that I read last year. It was so impactful, just because in this business, we tell new agents that you have to be available all the time, right? But you shouldn't. Like, you have to have time for yourself.
Right.
You have to set up boundaries in your business. You have to be able to say, I can work these days and I can, and I am making time for family. Because if you're available all the time, you're giving away everything that you have, and your time is the most valuable. Now, you're upfront with your customers about it. Like, I am available Monday through Saturday. You can text me on Sunday, but don't expect me to do anything within these certain hours, right?
Yeah.
This is my time. And I tell even my friends, my phone goes off at 9:00, which early or late to some people. At 9:00, you will not be able to reach me till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
After 9:00, I am not answering text calls, anything until 6 a.m. the next day.
Well, and I would even say that it's how you train people, right? It's how you train your clients. If you respond at 10 p.m., then they're going to expect that you're going to be available at 10 p.m. If you respond at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., they're going to expect that you're available at those times. And, along lines of what you're saying, I had a coach, and I've talked about this on the show before, but I had a coach years ago when I was in the like near a nervous breakdown, about to lose it all, mentally and physically. I'd worn myself down. She said, Mark, you need to learn that when you have a time set aside on your calendar for a date night with your wife or time with your family, that is an appointment. And if a client asks for you, then you say, I'm sorry, I have an appointment at that time. Can we do tomorrow at, 10 a.m. or whatever the case is? So I have an appointment. I learned that one. And then the other thing that she did, she had me present my clients with my communication agreement that said that I'm available from, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. I think it may have been 8 p.m., 7 or 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. And then these are the hours that I'm available on Saturday. If you need to reach me outside of this time, send me a text message that says emergency, and I'll respond to you. And so that was about 10 years ago. Do you know how many times I actually got a text message that said emergency?
How many?
Never. Zero.
Wow.
Nobody ever sends an emergency text message, because I think when people start to put that in, they realize, oh yeah, this can wait till tomorrow, right? Yeah. There's no real emergencies, especially if we got a title issue or a loan issue at 7:00 at night. It's not getting fixed until tomorrow anyway, right? So those are two of the most valuable things I learned. I think what you're saying is absolutely dead on. And I love the book recommendation. In fact, that's my big takeaway. I'm going to go read that book, because you said that was the most impactful book that you read last year.
So that, and then another book that was the most impactful book for me was a book called Boundaries.
Oh yeah. Is that
so? Don't remember.
That was my wife's favorite book about that time when I was going through a mental breakdown. But yeah, excellent. Okay. Yeah. So talk to me about why.
Well, so, I've been very successful in business, but I've never been successful in dating. So, to get real personal, is that I was currently talking to a girl, and things were going really well, and then she said, then it wasn't. And I was like, what is going on here? And she said, Chris, you have no boundaries.
Mm.
And in my head, I was like, well, what the hell are boundaries? I'm in
And why
real
would I need
estate.
a boundary?
And why would I need a boundary? So I took this book, and I was like, huh, this makes so much sense. And it allowed me, I would basically do anything for anybody. I didn't know how to say no. So
Mm.
I was very, very, in business, of course, I was successful because I would show anybody anything at any time.
Right.
Right. So I would always work, but I wasn't making time for myself. So I was always stressed when I was
Yeah.
doing it. So I wasn't performing as well as I could have. And that's, again, when you can make time for yourself, you're going to perform better because you feel better,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, I make the gym an appointment. If I'm at the gym and you call me, hey, I'm in an appointment, this is my non-negotiable. I have
Yep.
to work out. I have to release my stress too. So, but needless to say, I read that book, and then I read the Let Them Theory, and both books have guided me into my next chapter of life. I hit my 10 years in real estate in this July, and I've so much more to learn, but
Yeah.
I've learned so much in the 10 years. So just, passing that information along.
Yeah. I love that. What are you reading currently? If I'm allowed to ask?
So reading currently, of course, you're allowed to ask. I'm an open book on those things. Is that I'm currently reading the the I'm still reading Start with Why,
Okay.
and I am also reading The Art of War,
Okay.
and then I think those are the two main books. The last one, it's kind of an odd read because the first half of the book you read, but it's called The Overthinker's Guide to Making Decisions.
Ah, okay.
And so the first half of the book is a good read, and then the second half of the book, it asks you questions of like, this is what you would do. How would you do it? What are you overthinking in this situation? How can you do it differently?
Interesting.
So it's a interactive, hands-on book. So
Wow.
I love that.
I'm going to have to check that one out too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it really gets you to engage with yourself and look at some of the actions that you do on a day-to-day basis and reframe yourself to,
Wow.
okay, how can I do this differently? Because you can't train yourself until you're in the moment or actually looking at the situation.
Yeah.
So you have to learn to identify when you are overthinking and how do you shift your mindset.
Okay. That's good. Man, you just gave me like a whole reading list. I'm going to be reading the next year. I'm probably a slower reader than you are though. So,
Audiobook.
okay. This is awesome. I've gotten a lot of takeaways. I've got some questions that I ask every guest. All right. And I want to hear from you how you answer these. And it helps us get to know a little bit more of what's going on inside of, Chris Kortright's head. So, first one is this: who has had the greatest impact on your life and career? It would be the person that you would say, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Well, I've got a few of those people, but I would have to say, you know, Craig Grant is one
Yeah.
of my people that anytime pursuing, especially my passion for speaking and trying to break into that portion of my career, which I'm very passionate about, he's always given me advice and supported me. And he's, and also very genuine. So
Mm,
great guy. And I would say that as I progress forward, he will always be there to support me in my next chapter. So, and then I would say Jerry Guerra, the one who got me
yep.
into business. I mean, if it weren't for him just making the invitation of, hey, if you get your real estate license, I'll teach you everything you need to know. And honestly, I mean, he didn't need to teach me anything. I picked up every single book I could find, but if he wouldn't have extended the
Yep.
invitation, I would have never thought it was never in my brain space of, of getting into real estate.
Yeah.
So he changed my trajectory of my entire life. So,
Wow. That's awesome, man. I love that. The power
mhm.
of an invitation, right? You
Yep.
never know what your invitation to someone, how that's going to speak into their life. And just like for you with Jerry, it completely altered the course of your life. So that's awesome. All right. We talk on this show about ultimate success. No one really cares how much money you made, how many houses you sold, but I want to know, what does ultimate success look like for you?
Ultimate success looks like for me. I'm uh I'm a simple guy. I want a good income to be able to support my family, to be able to travel and have freedom and not
Mm,
have to worry about food on the table. You know, for me, I would say, $20,000 a month is success to me.
mm,
I'm not looking for anything crazy. I mean, but I could build from there. I think that money isn't, you know, that's a part of it, right? Like I want to be able to take care of my family, but also success of knowledge and training and just passing something along to other people.
yep.
To be able to give the power of knowledge to anybody that wants it,
Yeah.
right? Building other people's dreams, whether it be in real estate or outside of real estate, it's just, hey, I want to see you successful. I just like seeing people successful. And if
Yeah.
I can give enough people tools, to be successful, that's makes me happy. That's what I live for every single day. I don't think there's an end point. It's just I'm here and I'm just doing what I like to do and just spreading love,
Yeah.
spreading and making people more successful. Like
Yeah.
that's letting people hear my message and connecting and getting yeah, yeah. I mean, if I could share it with a million people, I would,
Yeah.
you know, hey, at the end of the day, it's just like I'm a tribe person. Like I want
Yep.
everybody to be successful. So it's not about me, right? So at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about everybody else. I want my family to get taken care of, but it's not about me. I want my friends to be successful. It's not about me.
Yeah.
So um I can just sit back and relax knowing that I passed it forward.
Yeah. That's that's it. I feel like you nailed what it's really all about.
Mhm.
So if you could go back to Chris Kortright in your first year of real estate and give yourself advice, what would you tell yourself?
So first real year of real estate, give myself advice
Yeah.
is stop caring what other people think of you. I always, as a young man, I would always care, well, this is not how a man should act. That you have this stipulation on yourself. For me, it's just be you, right?
Yep.
And whatever feels comfortable to you. I've gotten so like, don't let other people's expectations limit you and where you need to be.
Yeah.
Just go out and do what feels right to you,
Yeah.
right? So I, show people who you are. Like, do the things, right? Go out there, get on video, connect with people, be, dress up as Aladdin and dance to Taylor Swift in front of a house for a listing photo or for a listing video. And, you know, if that's what you feel like doing, because like
Yeah.
the only person that's going to judge you is you, and maybe somebody else might, but who cares, right? Like, who cares what other people think about you as long as
Yeah.
you like you? Because at the end of the day, that's the most important opinion in the entire world, is what you think about you.
Yeah.
So if I could have went back, I would have, these goals that I had, I didn't think of. I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. But, I could have doubled my success if I would have started on day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now tell me, what is a life lesson that you've learned the hard way that you wish someone would have just told you sooner? The last two kind of feel like they go together.
Yeah, they really
that
do.
is a life lesson. You actually spoke to me one of my life lessons of not worrying about what other people think about me. But I don't know. Would you answer that different?
So restate that question one more time.
So what's a life lesson that you feel like you learned the hard way, so you did it the wrong way, that you wish someone had told you sooner?
So a life lesson. So I've learned, my stepdad gave me the best piece of advice when I was a kid. He said, you have 5 fingers. If you do something stupid, you lose a finger, but you still have 4 other fingers. So learn from the hard lesson and keep the other 4. Right. And, I was one for always making my own mistakes in life. And I think the biggest one, it kind of correlates with that last one. I did things for other people. I love the time in the Marine Corps, but I did it for my brother. Like, I would do things for other people, trying to make other people happy versus trying to make me happy. And at the end of the day, now that I've tried to make me happy, I'm making other people happy, making me happy. Right. It's different because it's a shift, right? Because you're doing it for the other people, but not because of other people.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. So, and the boundaries thing for me was the biggest, is that if you try and make everybody happy, you're not going to live your true authentic self, because some people are just not going to like you, and that's okay. You can still be happy with people not liking you. And it's hardest when you make those decisions to make other people happy, because when I joined the Marine Corps to make my brother happy, well, my brother and I don't speak anymore because I finally drew some boundaries and he did not like those boundaries. So, it's a tough situation, and it was really hard to move past. But at the end of the day, I'm happier. It's very hard to, live with something like that, but it's not from a choice that I would be willing to take back. Some people are just going to, live a certain lifestyle or a certain type of way that you don't agree with. And I live with a love in my heart, and I feel that everybody should appreciate loving others. And if you have hate in your heart, we don't need to be together. Like, you don't need to be in my room. So, and as much as I can still love you, I can love you from a distance, but that wall has to be up. You have to, and that's the greatest lesson. Like, learn that you have to let those go, because it's going to help you in business and in your personal life. And those two things are one. Like, there's no, it's a pendulum. It's not, there's no such thing as balance. Life is a pendulum. So,
well, that's good. And my last question, we touched on it a little bit, but I think it seems to me that you have a daily routine. Would I be right in saying that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me about your daily routine.
So I get up at 6 a.m. every single day, and I go to the gym. after I go to the gym, I go home, I shower, I dress up appropriately for the days of work, go to the office, and I look at the tasks that I need to get done that day. I look at what I need to do to prospect, what I need to do for my current buyers, what I need to do for my current sellers, what I need to do for my current properties that are under contract. And I make sure all that stuff is done. And then I say, what do I need to do to generate more business? So, and then I usually it's content creation, and then I just go do it. And that's, that's my day to day. It's consistent, but it's very simple. Of course, you have meetings and appointments that you have to schedule around, but I will say the morning routine is the most important. And for me, starting off and going to the gym every single morning, and it doesn't have to just, you don't have to go, you have to do the hardest thing in the morning. The gym's probably one of the toughest things for most people, but it will set you up for success. Like, it's a healthy habit. Still haven't gotten into running, but I hear that's very important too.
Well, they say statistics show that if you start your morning with a brisk run, then it's a 100% guarantee that your day can't get any worse than it started.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, man. This has been a great conversation. I've really enjoyed just getting to know more about you. One of the things that you said is you love just being a friend to people. I don't know if we've said that on the podcast or if we were talking about that beforehand, but I just feel friendship with you. And I'm excited about that because I feel like you're the type of person that I can really be friends with. And so I just really appreciate you being on. Before we go today, is there anything else that you would want to leave our audience with, that just one last nugget that might help them to be successful this year?
Again, I'll say just be true to yourself. Feel it in your gut. Like, whatever feels real and true to you, just go with it. There's no logic in this thing we call life. Like, we try to make everything, every puzzle piece perfect. It has to feel right. Like, we're guided by emotions. Just go with what you truly feel is the right decision, and don't scare yourself out of it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Fall forward, right? I that's my big takeaway is if you try something and you fail, you failed forward.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. Chris, where can our audience find you and follow you online?
I'm on Instagram at Chris_Kortright, and that's where I post all my content.
Kortright is with a K, Kortright. So Chris_Kortright on Instagram. I see on Facebook, I'm a few years older than you, Chris. So, I'm still on Facebook, but no, man, this has been an awesome conversation. I feel encouraged in our time together, and hopefully our audience out there, you feel the same. And hopefully one of these days you'll get to hear Chris speak. He is starting to get around the country and talk to agents all over the place with his inspiring content. One of the things that we were talking about before is he just likes to share great information with people. So if you get a chance, you need to go and learn from Chris. And let me give you one other way that you can learn, and that is through the Ultimate Success Framework. The Ultimate Success Framework, our online course, 100 Days to 100K, is launched and is available now to you as agents. And let me tell you, 2024, I lost $3 million in volume because I'd gotten lazy in my business. I wasn't keeping up with people and doing a lot of the stuff that Chris and I talked about today. 2025, I decided I was going to change things, and that's where we put together the Ultimate Success Framework and the 100 Days to 100K course. And listen, I added $92,000 to my bottom line last year, and I believe you can do the same. And so I encourage you to go and find it at itsmarkpeebles.com. Itsmarkpeebles.com is where the course is, and would love to have you check that out. and join the community. For today, though, I want to thank Chris again for being on the show. So encouraging, so much good information. And for all of you out there, I pray that you have an awesome, awesome week and that you're encouraged and inspired. Go and be true to yourself, as Chris said, and be your best. And we'll see you next week. Bye now.